Hi, welcome to Blooma. This is 30 minutes of yoga for strength, and I am Megan. I'll be leading you through this class today. Yoga is an amazing practice for everyone at all phases of life, but sometimes we don't get enough upper body strength in our yoga classes. So today I'm going to show you some creative ways in a short, condensed class so you can start your day with 30 minutes of strength or end your day with some strength. And this is an all levels flow, and I'll give some modifications for prenatal clients as well. So let's get started. Let's meet in child's pose to begin. You can take your knees wide and walk your arms forward. And just allow your forehead to rest on the mat. You can sway a little side to side. Begin to find a full breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And then next time you inhale, rise to all fours. Find your tabletop position. You can spread your fingers nice and wide. And we're going to start with some scapular push-ups. So what these look like is on your inhale, you drop your heart down and you draw your shoulder blades together. And on your exhale, you press into those straight arms and lift that space between your shoulder blades. Let's try a few more. Drop your heart, shoulder blades together, and then exhale, shoulder blades apart. Keep pulling in the low navel, core is strong. Let's try two more like this. Just waking up that upper back. Last one. And then next time you press up, those shoulder blades are apart. Let's walk the fingertips forward a little bit. So we're coming into a kneeling plank pose. You can either lift your feet or leave them down. I like to cross my ankles a little bit. And then try to keep your head in line with your knees. So your low belly's in, your core is active. And now we're going to try out our Chaturanga Push-Ups. So elbows bend straight back and press up. Couple more like that. Pull the low belly in. Keep your glutes active. Try not to drop your head down. Let's try one more. And then press back to your child's pose. Big breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Good. Slowly rise to all fours. Now this time tuck your 10 toes under, and on your exhale, hover your knees a few inches from the floor and then lower them down. We'll keep going like that. Exhale, knees lift. This is also a really good posture for anyone recovering from having a baby. This is really good for the pelvic floor and re-knitting together the lower abdominals. It's also just good for anybody in general to wake up that core. Let's try two more. How little can the rest of the body move? Just hovering and lowering those knees. Next time the knees hover, let's take this back to our down dog. This first down dog, you can pedal out the knees, shift your weight side to side, maybe look under one arm and then the next. I like to spread my toes really wide, let the head hang heavily. And then eventually find stillness in your down dog. 3 full breaths here. In through the nose and out through the nose. Big breath in and out. Last one, fill up and release. Next time you inhale, shift forward to your plank pose. Engage your glutes. And then down dog, exhale, pike the hips. 2 more like that. Shift forward, low navel in and hips high. Last one, waking up those shoulders. And take it back to your down dog. Now gaze forward, walk your feet behind your hands. Inhale to a halfway lift, shoulder blades together. Hands could be on the blocks, the shins, or the thighs. And then as you exhale, forward fold. You can take your arms one on the opposite side of the elbow. Ragdoll, head is really heavy. Maybe you sway a little side to side. And then eventually release the arms all the way down to the ground and start to roll up one vertebra at a time. So you can draw your shoulder blades slowly up onto the back. Draw the shoulders all the way up to the ears and down and back. Feet are hip width distance apart. Float both arms up to the sky. Try to get your arms right by your ears. And then engage your glutes. There's a little tuck to the tailbone. And as you inhale, squeeze those glutes, come up onto your feet, and then down onto your heels. Let's try 2 more like that. Lift and lower. Last one, squeeze those thighs together and lower. Swan dive, forward fold. Halfway lift, and then step your left foot back. Back knee drops down. Walk your hands up onto that front thigh bone and see if you can lean back a little bit so your shoulders are directly over your hips. Then float both arms overhead. Interlace your hands behind your head, and we'll take a little side bend to the right. So waking up those side ribs, and then come back up. 2 more like that. Little side bend to the right, and back. Last one. And back. Float both arms up towards the ceiling, and then half splits. Frame your front foot and flex your toes back towards your face. Reach your heart forward. Breathe in and out of the nose. 1 more like that. Rebend your front knee, and we'll step back to our plank pose. Holding here, lift your right leg, hover, and release. Left leg, and release. 1 more time each side, right leg, toes down, and left leg, toes down. Down dog, take those hips high, pedal out those feet, and let that go. Big breath in and out. Gaze to the top of your mat. Step your feet behind your hands. Inhale, halfway lift and fold. Feet are hip width distance apart. Come all the way up to stand. Float those arms overhead. And this time, bring your hands to your heart center. So we're going to lift up on those toes again. I always have a tendency to roll to the outer ankle. So then I like to think about I'm holding like a block or one of those bar balls between the heels, trying to keep them parallel. Press the palms together, and then like you're in an elevator, bend into your knees, but try to keep your shoulders over your hips. So a variation of chair pose. So hands can stay at the heart, or you could bring the elbows as close together as you can, and then squeeze them together. And then draw the arms out to goalposts. Let's try that 2 more times. Squeeze the elbows, working those chest muscles, and wide. Good. Last one. And wide. Straighten your legs, drop your heels, reach your arms to the sky, and swan dive, forward fold. Halfway lift. Step your right foot back, that back knee drops down. Untuck the toes, and then bring your arms by your ears. This time, interlace the hands behind the head, and we take that side crunch to the left. And inhale back through center. 2 more. And center. Last one. And center. Both arms to the sky, half splits. Frame that front foot and flex your toes back. Reach your heart forward. Breathing here. Rebend your front knee. We're going to meet in that plank pose again. Holding here. This time, hover that right leg. And then as you exhale, squeeze it into your low belly. And then press through your heel, reach it back. 2 more. Hug the knee in and reach it back. Feel those glutes. Last one. And reach back. Toes come down. Can we do the left side? Hover that left leg. You're so strong. Hug the knee in and press to the heel. 2 more. Nothing else moving. Just that leg. I'm shaking. Are you shaking? And back to that plank. Down dog. Okay, there we go. Now we're warm. Big breath in. Long exhale out. Gaze to the top of your mat. Step your feet behind your hands. Halfway lift and fold. Reverse swan dive, arms up to the sky. And bring that into your heart. Pop up onto the toes. Think of that ball between your ankles that you're squeezing into. Now bend into your knees like you're in that elevator. Head is staying over the shoulders. How low can you go? Sounds like that song. How low can you go? My knee always cracks here. There we go. All right, working those ankles, still thinking about pulling everything in towards midline. Really press those palms, keep the chest lifted. Take a few more here, breathing. And then can we go back up? Keeping those heels lifted, all that quad strength. You can do it. Squeeze those glutes, keep breathing. All the way back up, and then heels come down. Nice, give that a little shake, let that go. And we'll keep moving along. Float both arms up to the sky and swan dive, forward fold. Halfway lift. Now step your left foot back, high crescent lunge, and we're gonna start with the hands at the pelvis. All right, so bend into that back knee. So now you have about 90 degrees, close enough, in the front and the back leg. Roll the shoulders back, and then little pulses here. Think about getting these left glutes totally engaged. That helps any kind of low back issues. The stronger our glutes are, try a few more. Shoulders relaxed. Good. And now straighten through that back leg, even more than you think. Lift through that back heel, straighten the back of the knee, then bring your arms overhead. As you exhale, like you're bringing down the sun, goalpost your arms, elbows wide, and then inhale, arms to the sky. Let's try 2 more. Elbows wide, and reach. Last one, we feeling that back leg? I am. And reach. Open up, warrior 2. Go long with your stance. Soften your shoulders away from your ears and reach through the fingertips, straight arms. Good. Flip both palms. And then as you exhale, bicep curl. You can touch those shoulders. And inhale. Exhale. And reach. Last one. And reach. Palms spin back down. Side angle. So that right elbow's on the right thigh, and sweep your left arm overhead. So eventually we want those fingers in the same line as your left foot. It creates this energetic reach that's so powerful. Creates more space to breathe. Can breathe into that left lung and left rib cage a little bit more. Helps with posture. Last one here. And slowly rise. Straighten through your front leg. Spin your toes to the left. Take your hands behind your back, big chest expansion, breath in. And shoulder expansion, exhale, fold forward. So you've been doing quite a bit in the upper body, so you can just let the head hang heavily here. Slow the breath down if it got kind of fast. And then gently release the arms down to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Draw your front ribs in, so you're not really in a back bend. And then float your arms out by your side and come all the way up. Bring your hands to your hips. Spin your toes out, heels in. Goddess pose, our favorite pose at Bluma. A class would not be complete without goddess pose. But lots of things happen in goddess pose. The knees kind of like to flop inwards. So we really have to use our glutes to roll those thigh bones back and press into the outer foot. We get more of a stretch in that inner thigh and more strength in our glutes. So see if you can maintain that. Hands can come to the hips, the heart, maybe those goalpost arms, and then possibility to float your heels. Can you lower the hips and take those knees back, elbows back, breathing here, big belly breaths. Jaw is soft. Jaw always wants to help. We don't need it to help in these poses. Keep those teeth apart. Last one. Press your heels down. Star pose. Feels so good. And then warrior 2 to the front. Windmill your hands down to the floor. Step back to your plank pose. Bring your right hand to the center of the mat. We're rolling towards the left in our side plank. So sometimes this doesn't feel good on the wrist. You can come onto your forearm if that's the case. You could always drop this right knee down. Any of those variations, we're still getting the same side body work. But wherever you are, can you lift this right hip crease? Take that left arm overhead or towards the front of your mat. Engage your glutes. It's just like side angle. Can we lengthen from fingertips to toes? Breathing into that left rib cage a little bit more. Last breath. Hand comes down, we're in our plank pose. And then down dog, pike the hips. Big breath here. Let it go. Gaze to the top of your mat. Step or hop. Halfway lift and fold. Reverse swan dive. Sweep those arms up to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to try chair pose one more time. Feet can either be together, or if you're expecting, might feel better to have the feet apart. Sit back into your chair. And then favor that right foot a little bit and hover your left heel or maybe your left big toe. You can stay here or find little pulses. Working those hip flexors. Notice if the whole hip wants to lift as well. I like to think about lengthening the side waist and just lifting that knee. Good. Try a few more. Keep breathing. And then we're going to go right into that other side. Shift it over. See if you can lift your knee, but not the whole hip. Keeping that length. Little pulses here. Chest is lifted. Good job. Couple more. And release that foot. Forward fold, let it all go. Sometimes after that leg work, I like to do a little bounce with my knees, just softening. Okay, next time you inhale, take a halfway lift. And then step that right foot back. So we're starting in our crescent lunge with our hands to the top of the pelvis. Bending into that back knee. So you have that about 90-90 in the front and back legs. And then little pulses here. Can you get those right glutes engaged? Shoulders back. Try a few more. And then re-straighten that back leg. Even more than you think. Back heel is as lifted as possible. Float those arms overhead. Goal post your arms. And then as you inhale, draw the elbows together. Exhale back to those goalposts. 2 more. Exhale, elbows wide. Last one. And wide. Arms up to the sky. Open up into your warrior 2. Shoulders soften away from the ears. Reach those fingertips and flip your palms up. Good. Bicep curls. Touch those shoulders and inhale back. 2 more. And reach. Last one. And reach. Palms face down, side angle. We're going for that long line. Right fingertips to right heel. Reach in opposite directions. Roll the chest towards the ceiling. Find your breath. Last one. And rise. Straighten the front leg. Wide-legged forward fold towards that right side of the mat. And for this round, maybe you find a little bend to those knees side to side, shaking everything out, letting all that strength go. We like to go between flexibility and strength. One of my favorite sayings in yoga is, if we have too much flexibility and not enough strength, then we have instability. But on the other side, if we had too much strength and not enough flexibility, we'd have rigidity. So we want to find that suppleness, that in between where there's structure, but we can soften into it. Come back up. Bring your arms out by your side. Come all the way back up. Spiral your left toes forward, warrior 2. And then we're going to windmill those hands down to plank pose. This time the left hand to the center of the mat, or you can always come onto that left forearm. So we're in our side plank. Right arm to the sky. Maybe the feet are stacked or staggered. Made that bottom knees down. And then reach right arm overhead. Really engage through your glutes. Keep breathing. How's our jaw doing? Is it really relaxed? Last one. So strong. Hand comes down. Big breath in plank. And then down dog. Drop down to your knees. Untuck the toes. And then sit back on the heels. So this can be a lot for those quads. You could take that block as well underneath your seat. That can help sometimes. If your knees feel really bony, you could slide a blanket underneath or double up your mat under the knees. Just take a moment to let those quads stretch a little bit. We've been doing a lot of strengthening, and we're going to do a little bit more with those quads. So just take another breath or so. Good. And now come up to kneeling. And again, if there's any boniness under those knees, you could slide something soft underneath them. Bring your hands to your heart. And then find a little bit of a tuck of the pelvis under. So that gets your glutes engaged. Lean back any amount that you can before you would drop the hips or go into kind of a camel back bend. We don't want either one of those. So we're trying to keep our bodies really straight and strong. Leaning back and forward. So it's quads and glutes. Low belly drawing in. If you do Kay's bar classes, I think she calls this thigh dancing. It's kind of an interesting dance move. Very powerful though. Our quads tend to be, as a culture, very tight from too much sitting, and our glutes aren't super strong. So this kind of does both of the things that we need. Stretches out those quads, wakes up those glutes, and our low belly is really strong. Try a few more. Doing great. Good. And then next time you come forward, sit back down between those heels or on your block and breathe. Good. Slowly come up, release that block if you have it. We'll meet in our tabletop once again, working these glutes a little bit more. Shoulders stacked directly over the wrists. Pull the low belly in, and then next time you inhale, start to slide your right leg back so it is parallel with the floor. Oftentimes those toes want to flare out to the side, so see how much you can really level off that right hip with the floor. Your inner right ankle is lifting, outer right ankle is dropping. Option to stay here, or you can float that left arm forward, thumb pointing up towards the ceiling. Big breath in, and then exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, reach long, and exhale, curl in. Last one, reach, and exhale. Reach long, touch down with that knee and hand, and give those hips a nice swivel in each direction. Let that all go. Okay, let's try that other side. So now we're sliding the left leg back, making sure we're not turning out too much. Those toes are down. It's almost like you're balancing a block on your low back, low belly in, and then float your right arm forward. Holding here, or we have that knee to elbow, nice and slow, great control, and reach long. 2 more. And reach. Last one. And reach. Hand and foot come back down. Let's tuck those 10 toes under. Get that knee float one more time, so knees lift. All right, so extra challenge here. We can hold and breathe, that's hard enough. Or send that right leg back to a straight leg hover. That bottom knee is still hovering as well. So hard. Look at that stability. And drop it back down. Knees are hovering. Try that left leg. Can you do it without your hips lifting? Keep them low. And down. One more time each side. You got it. And release. I'm sweating. Left leg back. And release. Good. Knees come down. Take your child's pose. We did a lot on the hands there, so it might feel balancing to spin the palms up towards the ceiling. Let's take a few really big breaths into your upper back. One more like that. And then start to make your way back up. Come onto your seat. Start to cool down a little bit. Cross your ankles. Find a comfortable seat. You might still want your block nearby. All right, so get up on those sitting bones as much as you can. Float both arms up to the sky. We're going to work the side waist just a little bit more. Interlace the hands behind the head. And then little side bend to the left. Feel that rib cage. Engage. And back up. Little side bend to the right. One side might feel different than the other. And back up. Now hug your elbows by your ears and round your body. Gaze at your navel. Big stretch in the back. And then come up and open up those elbows. A little bit of a back bend. Press your head into your hands. Good. We'll try that one more time each side. So a little side bend to the left. Could live in this one. This feels so good. And back up. Little side bend to the right. And up. Hug your elbows by your ears. Round your body. And then up. Open those elbows and take a little back bend. Good. Release the arms down for a moment. Let those shoulders release. Little circles. Okay. So now let's take our eagle arms. Right arm wraps under. You give yourself a hug. Tell yourself you're doing a good job. Or maybe those hands cross or wrists cross. And lift your elbows as high as they will go. Huge stretch for the upper back. Keep lifting those elbows. One more big breath. And then round your spine. Keep those eagle arms, but draw your chin to your chest. Draw navel in. Okay, and we're going to keep that rounded spine, but you can release your arms down. Maybe you have that block nearby, so you're folding forward. I like to place either the forearms or the forehead on that block and just totally soften into it. Gently make your way back up to seated. Whichever ankle you have in front, switch it out for the other. And then we'll bring those arms out to a T. And this time that left arm comes under, giving yourself that hug or those wrists cross our eagle arms. And one side might feel really different than the other. It's very common. Lift the elbows as high as they'll go, breathing into the upper back. And then we're going to find that rounded spine. So I find that if I really tuck my chin in and really draw my low belly in, I get so much more of a stretch in the back of the spine that is really quite lovely. It's intense, but it's awesome, especially after a day of lots of sitting. And then whenever you're ready, just going to come into that passive forward fold. So you can release the arms out in front. Head can rest on that block or hands. Totally let go. Make your way up to seated. Take both legs out in front and get these shoulders just a little bit more before we come on to our backs. Still keep that block nearby. Hands come behind you. So wrists are kind of a funky thing in yoga. Sometimes I hear people complain about them quite a bit. So the cool thing about this posture is you can turn your fingers in any direction that feels best on your wrists. I find that turning them out to the sides, I feel best supported than fingers all the way forward. So you decide. Either way though, try to straighten through your arms, lift through your chest, point through your toes, and then start to lift your hips into reverse plank pose. So really engage those glutes. Hug your legs together like you have a block or a ball between the ankles. One more breath, straight arms, shoulders together, and then drop those hips down. We're gonna come onto our back. If you're expecting or recently postnatal, it's always a better idea to come onto your side first and then onto your back. So we'll meet on our backs with our block nearby, and we'll start with an active bridge. So take the block between the thighs. And for those of you with these cork blocks, you're gonna be doing a little bit more work because they're a little bit heavier. So yay for you. Imprint your low back first so you can feel navel to spine. We're pressing the low back down, but also press down into your hands and your shoulders. Those triceps are active. Now squeeze that block and start to roll up one vertebra at a time up to your bridge. Are we still hugging that block? Are we still tucking the pelvis under a little bit, using those glutes? And then how are those arms doing? Can you press into your arms a little bit more? Press into all 10 fingers. And now are we breathing? So many things to think about. Big belly breath. And navel to spine. Last one. And navel to spine. Good. Slowly roll down. Release that block for a moment. And hug both knees into your chest. Okay, we're going to do 2 more bridge poses. The second one here is supported bridge. So feet come back down again, but this time, instead of taking that block between the thighs, take it underneath the pelvis, the sacrum. So it's not in your low back, it's not really in your glutes, it's in that kind of flattish bone, the sacrum, between the 2 sides of the pelvis. If the block is on the lowest setting, you could, if your low back's okay with it, straighten one or both legs, as well as one of both arms overhead. If the block's at the higher settings, sometimes this feels a little bit too much in the low back. So you can decide here. Think about every in-breath, the belly is expanding. And every out-breath, the legs get heavier and the navel drops down towards the spine. Just try a few more like that. Okay, now if those legs are long, rebend them. Hands come down by your sides. Lift up off that block. Slowly roll down. Hug the knees into the chest one last time. So we're going to try out our bridge one more time. It's going to be a one-legged bridge. So hands come down by your side, just like we did before. Imprint your low back. Lift your hips. And now firmly stand into your right foot. Really strong in that right foot. So much so, can you hover your left leg to the sky? Press through that left heel. Lift your hips. 3 full breaths here. Press into both arms evenly. One more. And then take this left ankle on top of the right knee and slowly roll down. Interlace your hands behind the right thigh. Now we're in our figure 4, sometimes called floor pigeon. Some people like to find stillness here. I like to find a little sway side to side. Sometimes I can get to that outer hip a little bit more efficiently. Okay, and then release those feet back down. Last side here, imprint the low back. Belly is strong. We lift up those hips and stand into your left foot. Hover your right leg. Press through your heel. Lift those hips. Toes are flexed. How's our arms? Are they pressing down? Last big breath. Figure 4. And then slowly roll down. Hands come behind that left thigh or on top of the shin. And then maybe you find that little sway or stillness. Then take your peace fingers around your big toes. Happy baby. Maybe straighten one leg at a time. And then hug both knees back into your chest. Coming into our resting shape, either butterfly pose. We did a lot of inner thigh strengthening, so that might feel nice to stretch that out. Or Shavasana, or if you are expecting. Maybe rolling onto your side with a pillow between the knees could be nice. And we'll just take a moment here, letting all of that strength that we've just cultivated balance out with softness and rest. And slow down the breath if it got fast. Bring awareness to the parts of the body that really engaged today, created stability in your body. And then bringing a hand to heart and a hand to low belly, recognize your breath, this slow and steady, consistent reminder that we are alive and grounded and vital. And take your time to roll onto your right side, resting here for a moment. And then gently make your way up to a comfortable seat, either cross-legged or kneeling. Drawing both hands to your heart center, find just a little dip to your chin, to your chest, honoring this incredible body that you inhabit, full of strength and flexibility, ease and effort. Slide your thumbs up to that forever space of intuition right between the eyes, taking this strength off of our mats, feeling grounded and stable out in the world. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing today. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay strong.